Everyone, welcome back to a new post today. Today, let's talk about something with regard to climate change. And by December 2025, we will be celebrating 10 years of the successful Paris Climate Agreement. And this is the first agreement which shows that there can be multilateral cooperation to deal with critical issues like climate change. And we will be celebrating the 10th anniversary. Now, this was adopted at the COP21 in December 2015 and it came into force on November 2016. It has altered the global trajectory of moving away from a projected warming of 4 to 5 degrees centigrade to about 2.6 degrees centigrade. There has been a major shift towards renewable energy, significant investment in climate solutions, with some cities like Paris also showing progress in reducing car dependency as well. However, there are still challenges with regard to climate change goals to be achieved. Not every country has been submitted the nationally determined contribution, and recently the report says that we are very far away from achieving 1.5 degrees centigrade reduction with regard to the global warming. Also, the upcoming COP30 in Brazil is one of the critical opportunity now to build upon the progress and addressing remaining challenges, and also to put a pathway further up to 2030, keeping in mind that we need to achieve the sustainable development goals by 2030 as well. And recently the report there has been a United Nations report analysis which says that when we come to finance, that is the finance needed to move away for mitigation of climate change, there is about 12 times more money that will be needed from the current money that is being catered from the developed to the developing countries. And this analysis underlines there is a huge gap between the demand and supply of funds that are needed to protect developing countries from climate change impact. And this is by a United Nations report which is named Running on Empty. It is an annual report that is released on the Wednesday ahead of the 30th edition of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change Conference of Parties, which is now being held in Belém, Brazil, that is a COP30. Now, international public adaptation finance flows from developing countries stood at 26 billion in 2023, down from 28 billion. So we are already falling short of funds, and if these trends continue, a target agreed to upon by the COP26 in Glasgow to double the adaptation finance to 40 billion by 2025 will be missed, says the report. And finance is a significant issue, especially when we come to climate negotiations, as developing countries insist that the developed countries must pay the cost of adaptation to deal with climate change impacts and mitigation, as well as compensation of losses and also damages that are being occurring. Now, at COP29, Baku, Azerbaijan last year, developing countries which were demanding nearly 1.3 trillion annually by 2035 were disappointed when the developed countries agreed to only 300 billion, which is called now the new quantified goal on climate finance. And therefore the report raises concern about the money that is already available, and we are going to fall short of it, and also is classified as debt. 70% of the international public adaptation finance is concessional, and it is worrisome that the debt instruments continue to dominate these overall flows, comprising 58% on the average. On the other hand, we have the Lancet Countdown report, very timely, just before the COP30 of Belém, Brazil. It's an annual report. Now it highlights the link between health and climate change. Some of the highlights of the 2025 Lancet Countdown report are rising heat-related deaths. So the rise of heat-related mortality has increased 23% since 1990s, pushing heat-related deaths to an average 5,46,000 deaths per year. The average person was exposed to 16 days of dangerous heating in 2024, which would now be expected without climate change, with infants and elders being affected even more for almost 20 days heat wave days per person per year. There is an increase in wildfire and drought impacts. Drought and heat wave are associated with an additional 124 million people facing moderate to severe food insecurity in 2023. There is an economic strain. Heat exposure caused 640 billion potential labor loss in 2024, with productivity losses equivalent to US dollars 1.09 trillion. The cost of heat-related deaths among older adults is much more higher. It is $261 billion. It links fossil fuel subsidies, dwarf climate finance. Government spent billions on net fossil fuel subsidies, more than triple the annual amount pledged to climate vulnerable countries. 15 countries spent more subsidizing fossil fuels than on the entire national health budget. So there is still more money going towards fossil fuels. And benefit on climate change, there is an extra estimated 160,000 premature deaths avoided every year between 2010 and 2022 from reduced coal-driven outdoor pollution alone. Renewable energy generation reached a record of 12% global electricity, creating 16 million jobs worldwide. 2/3 of the medical students received education in climate and health in 2024. So these are some of the highlights of the Lancet Countdown report, which you can remember for your answer writing, and also it's very important for analysis of climate change on various aspects of life, especially health. We can interpret the Countdown report of the Lancet, the recent one of 2025. Apart from that, funding mechanism now facing a problem. This has also been a problem during COP29 discussion of Baku, Azerbaijan. Though they have committed to new commitments, but still it is falling short of the demand and the money that will be needed to actually mitigate the effects of climate change. These important points will help you to write about the 10-year period of Paris climate. You can analyze how it benefited to the globe, and also what are the aspects that the countries have to multilaterally work on. Apart from this, we can always use such reports like the United Nations reports which we just spoke of, and also the Lancet Countdown report. This will only enrich your answer, and also if you're answering the interview, it will give the interviewer a better insight into your interest into the area of study, and also the hard work that you put in. Therefore, this will help you to score more points. So these are the points I thought I should be discussing with you all. If you did, please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to comment at the end of the video. I shall see you in my new post. Until then, it's very happy learning.